Welcome, everybody, to the Week 14 NFL Pick'em Show on the Grueling News Sports Network. Of course, we are brought to you by mybookie.ag. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I want to welcome in my co-host. First up, of course, the loser always goes first, Oz Davis.
I'm glad you introduced me as the loser because it gives me an opportunity to say something I've been wanting to say for a little while, which is the picking 16-game format is really bunk. It's an interesting little parlor trick, and it's great for your ego, but, you know, anybody who would bet all 16 games in an NFL week is insane. And I bet 4 games. I made 5 bets this week, and I won 4 of those 5 bets. So I did better, I think, than the average football fan, despite the fact that I was the big loser on this show.
Well, you were 10-6. I mean, being the big loser on a show with people as intelligent as
awesome as you guys. Yep. Okay.
Is pretty good. Next up, he was 12-4 last week, but his San Francisco 49ers beat the monsters of the Midway, the Chicago Bears. Robbie Gould, 5 field goals. Matt Andruscavage, you have to be on cloud 9 this week.
No, I'm going to say cloud 2 because we got 2 wins, but I'm pretty happy still. It's a good cloud. It's better than cloud 0. So,
all right, real quick,
yeah,
real quick.
It was a good week.
Oz, when I introduced you, nobody laughed, cracked up, and were generally just an ass. So chill out.
Because I didn't say anything funny. I've never heard of cloud 2 or cloud 0 before. That was great.
Well, maybe sometimes you should say something funny, and then you can talk a little longer, or somebody will laugh. Next up. Also 12-4 last week, Brian Schmidt. How you doing, Schmitty?
I'm doing great, and I have nothing funny to say. So nobody should laugh.
All right. Well, somebody just giggled, but that's probably Oz. He thinks everything's funny. Especially, what do you got in your mouth over there, Oz? And I don't mean that in a sexual way.
Nothing, Mike. What do you mean?
That's the way I meant that. All right. Also, I was 12-4 last week. So overall for the show this year, me and Matt, as always, tradition, we're tied. Brian's 1 game back. Last week's big winner. And I know everybody's going to be shocked by this. Alex Golden, 13-3, Alex. How's it feel?
Well, it just feels great because I was the only one that picked Baltimore, and look what they did. So, you know, Oz said it last week. I'm glad somebody picked Baltimore. Well, you should have done it, Oz. You should have listened to your gut and picked them. But, you know, that's the one that got me over the hump. And, you know, Mike, you would have been right there with me if you wouldn't have changed back to your Bengals, who once again choked away that game.
All right. At least my team was in a game. So let's start off in Buffalo.
That was mine.
Tre'Davious White took a little bit of a cheap shot for Rob Gronkowski. I'll start off with Matt first. Is a 1-game suspension enough for Gronk on this?
No. Here's the thing. There's lots of reasons why Gronk should be suspended longer. Number 1, I would go with look at the Michael Crabtree Aqib Talib fight. That was not even a good fight, as we've talked about, and they each got 2 games. This was blatant. You got the guy on the ground, play is over, and you can tell he is aiming with full intent to injure for his head. Gronk is not a small man. That could have been a more serious injury if he gets him just right. That should be at least 4 games.
All right, and then I think the thing that stands out here, Brian Schmidt, what'd Becky think of the whole thing?
Oh, she was against it. Feels that it should be more than a 1-game suspension.
Now, how do you feel? Because I know you guys usually look at things completely different. Since she's an Eagle fan and all their players aren't thugs and assholes, and you're a Steelers fan.
Oh, he should be suspended for more than 1 game. I mean, that was blatant going after it. You know, unlike the Steelers game where I think that there were 2 guys suspended, one for Pittsburgh, one for the Bengals for football plays that got the same suspension.
Yeah, between the whistles is a lot different than a guy laying on the ground.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the thing is with the suspensions in the NFL is until the collective bargaining agreement changes, there needs to be a different way that this is done because it's so inconsistent. Everybody's seen it. I mean, there was no way that you could suspend him for one game, give him the same fine that you're going to give both Pittsburgh's wide receiver and Cincinnati Bengals DB for football plays. They were football plays. Yes, Juju with the taunting afterwards. Yeah, that was uncalled for, but it was a football play. The same way with Antonio Brown when he made that catch in the end zone. Yeah, it was a football play. Yes, it was aggressive. Guess what?
I like us trying to knock the ball out. I mean, the game's on the line. The same thing.
Yeah.
Juju's hit to me was borderline. If you think you got him in the head, it's a penalty. If he didn't, then it's not. It looked like he clipped his head a little bit, but I'm telling you, that was a great block, whether it was legal or not. And the thing is this: if you have a chance to take out the heart of the other team's defense, I say do it. What do you think, Oz?
You can go ahead and do it, but you should get more than a one-game suspension. Look, to me, Smith-Schuster looked like he was headhunting too.
Yeah,
he did.
So?
He did. Gronk gets a longer suspension, and Smith-Schuster should have gotten a longer suspension too. But what I think is the real bummer here, and I'm going to beat this drum some more, the NFL is lucky that they don't lose more fans every week to the NCAA and to the CFL. They're lucky they don't.
Because in the NCAA, you don't even have a legit champion. Plus, you got the kids that are slave labor working for free. I know the NCAA is so much better. Plus, you got coaches that will bail for money for kids that they made a promise to. So you're right. The NCAA has no problems whatsoever.
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's what I think is that the exciting storylines in the NFL get subverted by this BS. And I don't think that anybody's going to be thinking about the coach of Central Florida when it comes time to the college playoffs. You see what I'm saying?
Well, they can't because the NCAA is so screwed up and corrupt that Central Florida, who's undefeated and has had 3 wins over teams in the top 25, weren't even in the freaking conversation.
But how about the football, Mike? How about the football?
How about the football? You know what? Okay. This is the thing. In the NCAA, I mean, Jared Goff went to the NFL and never even been under center. All right? So don't give me that. They don't develop offensive linemen. So the quality of play is not that great. It's nowhere near the NFL. And overall, people want to watch what happened last night. Their ratings, I bet, for the Bengals and Steelers would be better than they do. People like a bloodbath. People like to see people hit each other. I mean, whether it's right or wrong, there is a reason NBC 2 years ago made the Bengals Steelers the primetime wild card game, and there's a reason almost every year the Bengals and Steelers are a primetime game. So when we got Gruden and all these other assholes up there saying, well, this hurts football. You knew what was going to happen. Why put it there? And the other thing, we talked about this 2 years ago, Matt. Don't put the Bengals and Steelers at 8:30 at night because when you do, you get a bunch of drunken assholes from Cincinnati, a bunch of drunken assholes from Pittsburgh, and you have with 30 fights in the stands. So don't give me this. They're going to condemn it, but yet they highlight it.
It's so staged.
Yeah, it's set up.
The two condemning
teams hate
is
each
the
other.
stage.
Yeah, they're going to condemn. It's like the WWE.
And I'm going to jump in on this real quick because, for me and Mike, I mean, Mike's always been a Bengals fan. I've always been a Steelers fan, and yet we get along, which, some people think we're crazy. But the reason this rivalry is such a great rivalry is because it is a rivalry. I mean, these two teams don't like each other. They go out, they play hard, they hit. Yeah, is there some extracurriculars at times? Sure. But the thing is, what I didn't like about the broadcast last night was how they condemn it, but yet just as we're saying here, they want it on prime time.
Yeah, and next year it'll be on prime time again.
Absolutely it will. And if you notice, all the condemning they're doing, but yet what's been talked about, what has been talked about on all their talk shows and everything all day, what's been the number one or number two thing on there has been this game. What happened last night, this game, and it'll be talked about again tomorrow.
But not this game. That's the point. Not this game. They're talking about cheap hits. They're talking about, like, should this guy be suspended or not? They're not talking about how you've got a 5-team dogfight going on in the NFC playoffs right now. I mean, that's what's really interesting about Week 13 is how the top teams in the NFC did. How about Jimmy Garoppolo? Why are we talking about that? You say we're getting publicity for this game and for the league, and we're not talking about the game. We're talking about extracurricular crap.
Yeah, but that's what people want to hear about. That's what people want to watch.
They want to watch it, but they don't want to hear about it. And I think now, like, a lot of people are getting regrets about this debauchery that they have on Monday nights. And so they're hung up.
You know what? It's better than watching the Miami Dolphins play the New England Patriots. Alex.
Right. Well, here's the other thing to this. Here's the other thing to this, though, is they're talking about these hits, but these hits were what used to be football hits. These were not. The Gronkowski one. Yes, that was a blatant WWE move. But these were hits that back in the day. These were football hits. In my opinion, Juju was not headhunting. I think it was an aggressive hit, but if he wanted to headhunt, he could have gone up just a little bit higher and he could have taken his head off. He didn't. Yeah. Okay. The same way with the hit, and Mike, you can probably tell me what the name of the DB is because it's
George Iloka. I mean, all he sees is the guy catch the ball in the end zone, and the only thing he's thinking is, I need to get the ball loose. And if you look at it, the only thing sticking up was his head, and you're going to hit him. Exactly. And I can tell you this, I'm a Bengals fan, and I'm not going to sit here and whine about the Steelers or whine about how rough the game was. Brian's seen me coach a defense. I can't do that in good conscience because everybody knows I'm full of shit. All right? You go out and you bust the other guy. You hit them as hard as you possibly can. And, yeah, I hope after the game everybody's fine. But during the game, you can't tell me this. If Vontaze Burfict would have got a shot at Schuster, he would have tried to take him out. So how, as a Bengal fan, can I get mad if somebody's going to try to take him out? That's life. It's dog eat dog. It's two teams that don't like each other, and they're going to try to take each other out. Alex?
Yeah, no, I like what you guys said about WWE because a lot of times if you are a fan of WWE, what you care most about is not the actual fight or the actual wrestling. You care about, the cheap shot that happens in the back of the arena or the storyline that goes on from it. And I think that at the end of the day, as much as we want to call it sports, this is just as much entertainment as it is sports. And so what you guys have all said is just spot on. I mean, why else would they put the game on national TV if they're not wanting to, have something to talk about other than football? This is just extracurricular stuff that they can and will talk about because that's what they want to do, and they know it drives ratings. So with the NFL being down and having a lot of reasons, for fans to turn their backs this year, they're trying to do whatever they can to get their name and their storylines back at the top of the sports headlines because what's the big thing right now in the NBA? Ejections. So, I mean, it just seems to be a reoccurring thing in both sports, and I think right now it's just kind of driving the ratings.
Look at hockey, Alex. I mean, hockey, during the regular season, you get a fight. That's the first thing they show on ESPN. Basketball is not as popular since they can't fight now without getting suspended forever. I mean, I remember watching the NBA Finals in 1984, Kevin McHale taking down Kurt Rambis. They get in a fight. Bird and Jabbar get into it. Nobody got thrown out of the game. It was a one-shot technical, and they went on and they played. I miss that.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I remember Deion Sanders and Andre Rison fighting, and neither one of them got pitched. Both of them would be getting pitched now.
Yeah. I mean,
NBA, they have a lot of fake tough guys that want to say, hold me back, but they want to run their mouths. I mean, they don't really want to fight, though, because it's just stupid.
And that's most of the NFL guys. That's why if you let it go, they're going to break themselves up. I mean, Crabtree and Talib had no intention of getting in a real fight.
Right.
Now, there's no way.
Clearly.
I hope they didn't, because the way they both throw a punch is really scary. Because really, it looked like two women fighting to me. And I'm not talking about like Ronda Rousey or Layla Ali. I'm just talking about two fat women at Walmart fighting on Black Friday or Black Thursday, what it is, over a baby doll or some shit. But, all right.
Shout out to Beach Road Walmart.
Okay. Enough of your porn video viewing habits, Mike. Let's go on.
Oh, Oz is still here. All right, first game. Since Oz wants to talk, I'm going to give him the game of the week. First up, the Green Bay Packers at the Cleveland Browns.
That's the game of the week?
Yeah.
Right.
Does anybody want to pick
the first
Cleveland?
game?
That's just the first game
What about
I saw.
Thursday night?
What about it?
I would love to see Cleveland win, but it won't happen.
Okay.
Just because I'd like to see – the only reason I would like to see Cleveland win is because I'd like to see the Packers not fire Mike McCarthy after they lose to the Cleveland Browns.
All right. Is there anybody here that wants to take Cleveland?
What's the over-under?
I don't know. Oz has got all that.
Yeah.
I think the points were like 10, weren't they?
The Packers are 3.5-point favorites.
Oh, is that it?
3.5.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Run with that.
All right.
That's the game to bet right there.
So everybody's taking Cleveland? All right. So
All right, better get
nobody wants the Browns?
My document. I'm picking.
All right. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns in this game. They get their first win of the year here.
Get out of here. Really?
Yeah, I'm taking Cleveland. I think Cleveland wins
All right.
the game. This is the thing. It's
They
hard
have
to
a
go
chance.
0-16. Last year, they beat a decent Charger team. This Packer team's not very good without Aaron Rodgers. I like Brett Hundley, but you need a legend to quarterback this team to get a bunch of wins. And I just think that overall, Cleveland eventually is going to stagger into a win. And much like Oz Davis failed miserably to do last year 3 times, I'm going to pick that first win right here. All right, the next game. This is a hell of a game, and I'm going to let Alex Golden go first since he came in first last week. The Saints, favored by 2 points at the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, this is definitely going to be a tough game. This actually might be the legit real game of the week. I mean, there's some other decent games throughout the schedule, but this one, I mean, it's do or die right now for Atlanta, and, you know, Minnesota just proved how good their defense was last week against the Falcons. So, I mean, it's hard to bet against New Orleans here, but with Atlanta having their backs against the wall, and this is a must-win situation, I'm going to pick them at home, but I don't love it.
All right, Matt?
Yeah, I pretty much feel the same way. I think Atlanta is completely against the wall. If they lose this, they're in danger of missing the postseason. They're at home. I like New Orleans normally. I think New Orleans is really good. I'm just going to go with the home team and Ryan and Julio Jones playing well this week.
All right, I'm tired of me and Matt always being tied. I'm going to take the New Orleans Saints. I think that
you already took the Browns.
Yeah, there's going to be a difference after this week, good or bad. But I think with the Saints, I think their defense is much improved. Hopefully, they'll get some more guys back here, so I don't look bad saying this. But I think the Super Bowl hangover, there's something to it. I've been saying it all year. I screwed up. I picked Atlanta last week. I bought into a couple good games in a row. But I'm going to go with the Saints. I think Drew Brees has a big game here. Brian?
I am going to side with you. I'm going to go with Saints. I can't buy into the Falcons. Every time I do, they come back to haunt me. And the Saints, for the most part, have been such a consistent team. I think they will win this game.
All right. Oz, you want to go with the cool kids, me and Brian, or do you want to go with Matt and Alex?
I've been dithering on this one because I don't think that the Falcons are going to be as bad as they were last week. I heard a stat that said that was the first time in 3 years that they hadn't scored a touchdown in a game. So that's pretty bad. But on the other hand, the Saints are scoring like 35 points a week. I'd like to believe that these two teams are going to split, but I think the Falcons going down, and I think the Saints are up. I'll take the Saints. I'll be with the cool kids.
All right.
That's good news for us, Matt.
That means me and Brian are. That's what I was going to say. Me and Brian are screwed. All right, The next game, we got the Detroit Lions at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Oz?
All right, well, Matt Stafford may not play. There's no line on this yet, so he's questionable right now. And I don't really think it matters because he's been playing hurt most of the season, and he's been playing poorly most of the season. I will hesitantly take the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you here, hesitantly, as you say. Matt?
Good way.
I'm going with the Lions. I think
you always go with the Lions. Are you sure you're not really a Lions fan?
I can see why you might think that, but I think they get it together this week and come out with a win. I don't think Tampa Bay is very good at all.
No,
all right.
Not.
Alex?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree here, and I'm going to have to pick the Lions as well, even though I still think they're falling off the face of the earth. Both teams are bad. I am concerned with the Matt Stafford situation because if he's not healthy, this team's even worse. But yeah, I'm going to pick the Lions here, but Tampa Bay, they're just too hit or miss right now.
Well, I think both teams are good teams with bad coaching. Brian?
True.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bucs just because I'm not real sure if Stafford plays, and if he does play, how effective he's going to be with that hand. So I'm going to take the Buccaneers.
All right, the next game, the Chicago Bears at the Cincinnati Bengals. Brian?
Oh, man. I'm going to go with the Bengals, even though it's hard after Monday night. I think everybody's going to be a little beat up, but the Bears are just so hard to pick. So I'll go with the Bengals, but I'm struggling with this pick.
Yeah, I think it's an easy pick. The Bears suck. At least the Bengals have a quarterback. The Bears have Mitchell Trubisky. Alex?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Bears gave the 49ers another win last week, so it just kind of shows you where they're at right now. And, John Fox is about to be canned as well. And as much as it pains me to pick the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm going to pick them to win this game.
All right. Matt?
Yeah, I think the Bengals will have enough to beat the Bears. Like Brian said, they'll be beat up, but the Bears they go into every game beat up with their roster.
All right. Oz?
Aren't the Bengals eliminated?
No.
They're not mathematically eliminated yet?
They're 2 games out. They're mathematically eliminated because Marvin Lewis is the head coach.
That's not mathematical. That's spiritual. Okay,
well, it might be from the division. What about the division?
Did you hear? Oh, I got to ask you guys.
Yeah.
Did you hear John Gruden last night say there's not too many guys better than Marvin Lewis?
Yeah. I also heard him say the Bengals' offensive line had played better in the last month, and it did play better last night. But John Gruden doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground. I think he just sits around and plays with his Chucky doll all the time.
He talks a lot. He doesn't.
I couldn't believe he said that.
Well, I mean, he's got his little quarterback academy on ESPN, and nobody ever asked him to name one NFL quarterback that was a legit starter that he ever developed.
Yeah.
Plus nobody ever brings up his last 4 or 5 years in Tampa Bay.
Wow. He stayed too long.
He's overrated.
For the sake of argument here, I'm going to take the Bears. I definitely take them.
Time.
I definitely take them plus the 6. Look, the Bengals are going without Burfict probably. They'll probably go without Nixon. They're going to go without Iloka because I hear he's out for 1 game now. He's suspended for a game.
Yeah, but they still got Gio Bernard, Andy Dalton, A.J. Green. The Bears got.
You take away all those players, and you still got a better team than the 49ers. So.
And the Colts.
I don't care. The Colts are terrible, too. You could say that.
Hey, Alex, I believe my team won. How did your team do?
Hey, look.
Yeah, that's fine.
The 49ers have hope for the future. I mean, they got a quarterback now. I mean,
and the Colts have a drunken Irsay running their future.
Right. I mean, the 49ers.
Hey, we're headed in the right direction. I'm not sure the Colts are.
No, the Colts aren't headed in
We're headed in the right direction.
What direction's that?
Well, when Andrew Luck comes
San Antonio?
we have Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck, are you kidding me?
What's wrong with Andrew
Andrew
Luck?
Luck, are you kidding me? You'd be crying.
I like
over there if
Andrew
you had
Luck,
him.
but he ain't going to save that team.
Guys, nobody looks better taking 40, 50 sacks a season than Andrew Luck. Nobody
That's why
is
he's
better.
hurt all the
He's
time.
stuck in a horrible situation.
Yes, he is.
He is.
He's a top
He
5
is.
quarterback.
Yep.
He is, but he's
I
stuck in
know.
a horrible situation.
Yes, he is. But the
You
problem
got to
is
give
this.
Ballard time. It's only
Hey,
been a year.
You look at last year, they won 6 or 7 games with Luck. That was because of Luck.
Yeah,
I think that
yeah.
I think half the games they lost last year were when they didn't have Luck. And if you don't
Hey,
have any
statistically-
luck, you're not going to win.
Statistically,
here's
they
the
have
problem.
the 32nd best defense.
Well, here's the problem. I mean,
Hey,
you
but
have a coach.
Wisconsin's number 1 in defense. Go ahead, Alex.
Sorry.
Well, all I'm saying is that Chuck Pagano and this roster is assembled of a bunch of losers, like guys that are just okay getting numbers for themselves. Like T.Y. Hilton can score 3 touchdowns and put up 210 yards, and if we lose, he don't care. He's like, well, I had a good game. And so that's the problem. Like there's so many guys on this team that don't care about winning, but then you have a guy like Andrew Luck who's playing with a lacerated kidney going out there trying to win just a regular season game because that's just the kind of player he is. So, I hate to break it to you, but Jimmy Garoppolo is nowhere even close to Andrew Luck when he's healthy, and this is Chris Ballard's first year. So I think once we give him a couple years to get his guys in here that he draft, I think it'll be a lot different. But the biggest problem is Ursa needs to keep his nose out of the business of managing this team and personnel and just own the team. He just needs to let Ballard do his dirty work and sit there and be the pretty owner and get drunk. I mean, for crying out loud, it's just he just needs to keep his nose out of saying stuff. And I think that's been part of the problem. And I think they knew Luck's injury was going to be way worse than what it was, but they didn't tell anybody in Indianapolis because they wanted to sell season tickets. And that's why they kept Pagano on for one more year, because this is just another transition year. And I don't think they had any real goal to get to the playoffs, because if they did, they would have made a move for a quarterback earlier than the first week of the NFL regular season. So
Yeah, but they got a guy who I think's played better than probably at least 12 starters in the league.
no, and he's done a good job. I just think that with that offensive line and the defense, I mean, the defense has gotten a little bit better, but with that offensive line, he's gotten sacked the most times out of anybody in the NFL this year. And he missed the first game versus the Rams too. So you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
and he's
who
mobile.
knows how much?
Just think if that was Andrew Luck back there.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew Luck's pretty mobile too. So
Yeah, but not like Brissett.
I disagree with that. He's had quite a few rushing touchdowns, but with that being said, I'm not sitting here trying to dog the 49ers. I'm just saying that the Bears
But Alex,
are good.
you did, man. You
did.
randomly
You
slammed the
dogged them.
49ers.
You dogged them.
No, I'm just saying. I was just making a statement.
I wouldn't
The
have
49ers aren't
commented if
good
you
this
weren't
year
dogging
either.
on them.
Yeah, you were dogging them.
Well, no, I'm saying that the Bears I was dogging the Bears, what I was trying to do, but I'm saying Cincinnati without a few guys is still better than the 49ers and the Colts. I mean, you could put a lot of teams above them. Just Cincinnati's got too many hotheads and they can't close out games. They're just not good at finishing, but they have a lot of talent.
They don't have a lot of hotheads. They got a head coach that's a dumbass. There's nothing wrong with playing football violently. The Pittsburgh Steelers do it. And their coach, I don't think, is very smart either. But that's why I don't think in the end, unless Bill Belichick retires soon, that Pittsburgh is going to be in a Super Bowl any day soon. Just because Bill Belichick's smarter than everybody. Next up, Indy at Buffalo. Anybody want to take the Colts?
Nope.
There you go. That game's taken care of. Next game, Seattle at Jacksonville. This is a hell of a game, I think. Alex, I'll let you start this one out.
Yeah, well, I mean, Seattle had to win last week against the Eagles. Sorry, Becky. I picked against your Eagles for the first time in a long time this season, and I think right now just people are kind of sleeping on Seattle, and I think you guys have been for the last couple of weeks. Just saying the Rams are going to win the division, and I'm telling you right now, the Rams are not going to win the division. It's going to be the Seattle Seahawks, and they are going to win this game against Jacksonville.
All right. Next up, Matt.
Don't really know who I like in this game. I like Jacksonville's defense. Seattle's not the same team that they are at home. But boy, Russell Wilson's playing really well. He's hard to contain. I'm going to go Jacksonville by a field goal, but would not be surprised if Seattle won by even 2 touchdowns.
All right, I'm going to go with Matt. I'm going to go with Jacksonville also. Seattle's not at home. They're beat to hell. I mean, they're basically getting by because Russell Wilson, I think, is one of the 3 or 4 best quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's better than Andrew Luck. Brian?
If this game was played in Seattle, I'd easily go with Seattle, but I would beat up playing Jacksonville, in Jacksonville, long travel, beat up. I'm going to pick Jacksonville. I won't be surprised if Seattle wins, but I'm going to pick Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville will do enough to be able to win this game.
All right, Oz?
I'm not sure why everyone's back in the Jaguars in this game. I mean, look, the Seahawks are now 10-3 in December since 2014. I mean, this is when they get hot. This is when they get hot. Look, everyone is going to want to talk about Jaguar D versus Seahawks OL, but look, there's only been 5 quarterback sacks in the last 4 games. There's only been 4 turnovers from this Seahawks offense in the last 4 games. I mean, this offensive line is doing something. And the truth is that, you know, the Seahawks are 7-2 in games this year when they score more than 2 touchdowns. Are they going to do that against the Jaguars? Yeah, they will. The Seahawks win. Seahawks win.
All right. I love when the guy that comes in last all the time talks down to us. Next game, Oakland at Kansas City. Oz.
Wow. I don't know who to choose on this game. So I looked at the record. I see that in Week 7, the Raiders beat the Chiefs 31-30. I think it's kind of be a similar result, but it's going to be about 11-10. But I'll take the Raiders to win.
11-10. What is that score?
Nah, I'm just kidding. But it's going to be. My
He's
point
not
is that's
kidding.
real
You just didn't
low
realize
score.
how stupid it was till you called him on it, Alex.
Oh,
Alex, go ahead.
That was very.
Well, I think Kansas City found their new quarterback in Marcus Peters, the way he threw that flag. I'm kidding, obviously, but yeah, no, Kansas City. I mean, what in the world is going on with this team? Like, they are just imploding in front of our eyes, but they still lead the division. I mean, Andy Reid is probably on the
They're
hot
tied
seat
for
now.
the lead now with San Diego or Los Angeles. I mean,
Diego.
and that.
Yeah, it's a 3-way
Oakland.
tie.
Yeah, this is a
three-way
game for
tie.
first place.
Yeah.
So, I mean, part of me wants to pick the Raiders because how bad Kansas City's playing, but at the same time, like, I feel like Kansas City, like, they're going to want to get revenge on Oakland because that's when everything went downhill, was that game against Oakland. I don't know why, but I'm feeling like Kansas City is the team I have to pick in this game, and I don't like that because they have looked terrible and their defense was terrible last week. Like, I mean, it wasn't their offense, and that's been the problem in the past couple of weeks is the offense has been terrible. So they took Andy Reid's play call duties away from him, and then the defense is terrible. So it's like, you know, they just have to figure this out because they're better than what they're playing like. But, you know, I don't like Oakland either. I mean, Oakland struggled with the Giants last week with Geno freaking Smith. So this game is going to be ugly, but I'm going to pick Kansas City.
All right, Matt.
I'm going with Oakland. Kansas City keeps burning me, so they couldn't even beat the Jets. And
Brian,
I don't know what's wrong with them.
Brian, I do. Jack Del Rio's the coach for Oakland, and he sucks. Alex Smith's the quarterback for Kansas City, and he's not as good as people say. Brian?
Yeah.
I am, being that my new job involves black and silver, I'm going to go with Oakland just because I like the colors and plus the fact that the Chiefs just suck. So that's my only reason for picking the Raiders.
See, my problem with picking the game is I think they both suck.
They do both suck, but I'm
Maybe I'll
hoping that
pick
the
a
Raiders
tie.
suck less.
Maybe I'll pick it.
Just remember that Ravens pick I had last week.
Oh, did you get a game right? All right.
Got more than everybody last week.
I'm going to go with Alex. I think they both suck. But my thing is this. The last few years, other than this one game this year, Kansas City's owned Oakland. I mean, they just flat out owned them. So I'm going to go with Kansas City to win this game. I think their offense finally looked good last week against an all-right Jets defense. So I think the Chiefs get the win at home, and I think Oz, Matt, and Brian are nuts. The next game, this is a great matchup. Minnesota at Carolina. Brian?
Oh, man, this is a good one. I'm gonna go with. I've been struggling with this one. I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Vikings.
All right.
I'm gonna go with the Vikings.
I'm going to go with the Vikings also. I just think they're a better team with a better coach. The defense looked really good against Atlanta, and I think Minnesota's defense will make Cam Newton look bad. Alex?
Man, I was hoping I could go last on this one, but since I've got to go in the middle, I guess I'm just joking.
Hey,
but,
Matt, do you have Alex's binky?
No, why would Matt have it?
No, he's got it somewhere over there.
Becky's got it. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, it's been the Panthers' defense that's won them games. It's not been Cam Newton. Cam Newton's been terrible. I mean, I know that I say I still like him, even though you guys have criticized him, but he's really not had a good year. I mean, he's been very mediocre in their wins, and their schedule's not been super tough for the games they have won. So, yeah, this is Vikings for me. I think the Falcons are better than the Panthers, so I think the Vikings are going to get this win.
All right. Oz?
Somebody said that this is going to be a good game. This is not going to be a good game. The Vikings are going to blow them out.
Whoa, blowout.
Yep.
Well, I mean, with
Vikings
Oz's
are
track
good.
record. Well, what the hell?
Vikings are good.
All right. Has everybody picked that? I did. Matt?
Not me.
Matt didn't.
Matt?
I wanted to go last, and I am going last. I still don't feel good about it, so I'm just going to go with the Vikings just because they've got the defense.
All right. Everybody's picked them. And so you know, Alex, there is a female by the name of Becky who just sent a message on Spreaker chat that says, "Not me, I like real men."
Oh, okay. That's fine.
I don't know what that means because I don't even remember what you said before, but all right. I don't pay attention to anything anybody says, really. I just sit here and play Pac-Man. Next up, we have the San Francisco 49ers at the Houston Texans. Matt Andruscavage.
Well, as much as I love to pick my team, I just don't think they got enough to win this game. Houston, I don't think they're going to be able to cover Hopkins. Hopkins has played very well against good teams, and that's with Tom Savage throwing them the ball. I think Houston's with them at home. I mean, I don't think Houston's a great team or anything like that, but they're going to be good enough to win.
All right. I want to pick the Niners here. My only problem with picking the Niners here is just the fact that, I mean, they barely got past Chicago, and I really thought they would take care of that game rather easily. So I'm going to go with Houston. What do I do here? Yeah, I'm going to go with I don't know. Yeah, I'm going with Houston. Alex.
Yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, Tom Savage has played a little bit better. Not that he's been great, but he's played better in the last couple games. So this is a toss-up for me as well, even though I did diss the 49ers earlier in the show. Houston's right there with them in terms of talent without their quarterback and their starting two defensive linemen. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to pick the Texans on this one.
All right. Brian.
I'm kind of with you guys. As much as I want to pick 49ers, I just can't. So I'll go with Houston.
I'm sure Oz can.
I sure can. You guys should let me go first. It would have been much easier for you. I got 2 words for you, man. Jimmy.
Why? If you're picking them,
Jimmy.
We're definitely going that way.
Jimmy. 49ers.
Yeah, but you know what? There's not too many quarterbacks.
Oh,
There's not too many grown men that have a better name than Savage.
Jimmy.
Just think if Mitchell Trubisky's last name was Savage, he'd be Mitchell Savage.
That'd be savage.
That would be awesome. All right, guys, real quick, we're going to take a break because I'm almost 50 years old and I can't go a whole hour of having to go pee. We'll be right back after this message.
Hey everyone, my name is Alex Golden. I am the host of the Courtroom Podcast, an NBA debate show here at The Grueling Truth. And I'm here with one simple message. If you're watching the games, it's time to start making money. The Grueling Truth has partnered with MyBookie.ag, an industry-leading sportsbook website who reminds you that where you bet is just as important as who you're betting on. And that's why The Grueling Truth urges you to check out MyBookie.ag. In addition to the usual thousands of odds, money lines, proposition bets, and futures offered on MyBookie.ag daily, they also have in-game live betting and a mobile site that makes wagering on the go easier than ever. So join now, and MyBookie.ag will give you a 50% bonus on first deposit for up to $3,000 in extra playing money. Just enter promo code TGT50. That's TGT50 to take advantage of this offer. Visit MyBookie.ag, courtesy of the Grueling Truth Network, and enjoy winning today. MyBookie.ag. You play, you win, you get paid.
All right, guys, we're back to Week 14 of the Grueling Truth's NFL Weekly Pick'em Show. Jeez, I sound like I've been over there drinking with Oz. Brought to you by MyBookie.ag. The next game we're going to pick, Oz, the Washington Redskins at the Los Angeles Chargers.
Well, I love what the Chargers are doing right now. And I love how they got to stay home in California. I love how they're playing this week on the West Coast in that 4 p.m. slot. And I think they're better than Washington. And I think on Monday, the two LA teams are both going to be in the playoffs. Chargers win this game.
How are they going to be in the playoffs on Monday?
Well, they're going to be in playoff position, let's say.
Oh, come on, Oz. That's terrible.
And the Chargers will be on top of the West. The Rams will be on top of the West.
Yeah, but they're not. But the season's not over yet.
They're in playoff position. They are.
Okay.
All right, Alex.
Yeah, no, I'm going to pick the Chargers as well, and it's nice to see Keenan Allen's not hurt this year. Just a terrific wide receiver, and he's actually probably one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL. Just glad to see him back and healthy and playing great football right now. So I'm picking the Chargers.
All right, I'm going to take the Chargers also, Matt.
Yep, same here. I like the offense. I really like their odds of winning this division.
All right, Schmidt.
I'm with all of you, Chargers.
All right, the next game, the New York Jets at the Denver Broncos, Brian.
Oh, this is an ugly game. Really an ugly game. Like, really, really, really ugly game. I'm going to go just because they're at home. I'm going to go, no, God, yes. Every time I pick the Jets, they screw me. I'm going to go with the Broncos, but boy, this is an ugly game.
All right, I'm going with the Jets. They've played a lot better. I think Denver might be, if they're not the worst team in football right now, they're real close, Matt.
Yep, I think the Broncos are just in total free fall. I'd like to pick their defense is because, you think of the Broncos, you think of their defense, but this just isn't the defense that won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. They're still effective, yes, but their offense is so bad. And I'll tell you, watching the Jets offense the last few weeks, they're not bad. Josh McCown is playing good football. Robbie Anderson is very, very underrated this year, and they've got enough to be able to put points up.
All right, Alex.
Yeah, Robbie Anderson has been on fire recently, and McCown's doing a great job as well. I mean, the Broncos have been terrible. I mean, they're awful, and they still don't have a quarterback, and their defense is just, regressed all season long. So I think this is an easy one. I'm picking the Jets.
All right, Oz.
Jets. And I'll give you some license how awful the Broncos are. They're 0-3 at home since week 5, the bye week. They're on an 8-game losing streak. They've let up 30 points a game over the last 8 weeks. I can't believe they were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. That seems like a long 2 years. Jets.
All right. next up, the Tennessee Titans at the Arizona Cardinals. Matt, this is an awesome matchup.
All about awesome matchup. But,
it's awesome. They got their uniforms will mesh together beautifully, I think. The red, white, and blue. I just think it'll look.
Yeah, that'll look pretty good.
Yeah,
that'll look pretty good. I just don't think the Cardinals losing last week probably took all the air out of their sails. They were in potential very, very slim playoff contention, and now they're out. The Titans are, we've talked a number of times this year about how we don't really like the way the Titans are playing, and they just keep winning. I'm going to go with Tennessee.
All right. I'm going to go with Tennessee also. I'm not real sold on it just because I'm not real sold on the Titans. They have a great roster, but it has not really translated this year onto the field. Oz.
Titans have had an easy schedule. That's part of the reason why they're winning so much. But let me tell you about this week. The Cardinals don't know whether Adrian Peterson and or Kerwin Williams will be playing at all. And I don't know if it matters because the Cardinals are dead last in rushing yardage. This is a messy team. They're going to lose this week. Titans win.
All right. Brian?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Titans. I think the Cardinals are pretty much dead in the water at this point.
All right. Next up from our Let's Talk NBA podcast, or the Courtroom podcast now, Alex Golden.
Yeah, no, this is a game that, I want to pick the Cardinals because the Titans struggled against the Colts 2 weeks ago, had to come back and beat them in the fourth, and they had a hard time against the Houston Texans last week as well. And so the Titans really aren't playing good football, but
but they win,
Cardinals
and in the end, that's the only thing that matters.
Yeah, no, they're winning, but they're winning very close games that that they should be winning by more because the teams they're playing aren't very good. So the Cardinals have a decent defense, which is going to cause problems for the Titans offense. And the only thing I can say is Blaine Gabbert is quarterback for the Cardinals, and that's all I really need to know. So I'm going to pick the Titans, but I think it could be a very close game like the Titans have been in the last couple weeks.
All right, next up, I think this is the matchup of the week. I'm looking at the other games real quick. Yeah, I think this is the matchup of the week. We get the Philadelphia Eagles at the Los Angeles Rams. Brian?
Oh, man. The Eagles let me down last week. They let me down. Which means that, the Becky pick of the week is on thin ice right now. But I still think they're good enough to beat Los Angeles. So I'm gonna give it one more week. On probation. We'll see what happens. So I'll take the Eagles.
All right, Oz Davis.
The Eagles are 2-point underdogs in Los Angeles. That's just so nice. I love to see that. I'll tell you what, though. I think Philadelphia lost on an off day. I think they did the smart thing. They stayed out here on the West Coast. In fact, they're here in Orange County. They might be here in Irvine. I think they're here in Irvine. I read that in Sports Illustrated today. So
People still read Sports Illustrated?
SportsIllustrated.com.
Okay. Why are you on there?
I can't read magazines, man. My eyes are shot. I can't read normal print, man. I have to read it online.
I don't know.
So in any case,
a competitor, but go ahead.
In any case, I think talent wins out. I'm going to take the Eagles here. I can't imagine them losing 2 games in a row.
Matt?
I am calling it. I'm going to call the Rams winning. This reminds me of like the 98 Broncos going undefeated and losing 2 games that was kind of a surprise. I like the Eagles a lot. I think they're really, really good, but I think they're going to get one more wake-up call. I think everyone's expecting the Eagles to bounce back. Everyone's been overlooking the Rams. The Rams are really tough. They've got a good offense, and being at home with their defense, they're going to pound with Todd Gurley. I think they're going to take the Eagles a little bit by surprise, and then the Eagles will get it back together starting next week.
All right, I think it's a little bit of a stretch to call the Eagles of 2017 the 98 Broncos.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Just a comparison.
Okay. Well,
Just the way the season has gone, that's all.
All right. But they went 13-0 before they lost, didn't they?
Yeah, but basically, didn't the Eagles lose their first game and then they rattled off 10 wins in a row?
I don't know. You would have to ask Brian. I'm sure Becky has informed him of that.
No, I think he's right.
I think the Eagles lost the one.
Next up, Alex Golden.
Yeah, no, I think there's a couple things to look at here, and even though Becky, challenged my manhood,
she did,
and called me what she said, I'll still pick her Eagles, but I think
diaper boy is what she said we should call you from now on.
Diaper.
Yeah. Well,
Binky,
if you guys do that, I might not talk.
Binky baby is what Oz just texted me.
I did that.
Yeah,
I'm more interested in the comment that Mike made to Becky's response on the.
Oh yeah,
she
said, "Not me. I like real men." So I put, "So you don't like Brian?" And then I put an LOL. That means laugh out loud.
I know, and she's trying to cause problems here. I see it already.
Yeah, she's trying to get between us. She's trying to get between us. But go ahead,
I know.
Oz.
Or
Alex.
Can I finish what I was going to say? Yeah. But anyway, what I was going to say is, this goes back to last year's draft when Jared Goff was taking over Carson Wentz. And I think we're kind of missing that storyline here because these were the top two picks in last year's draft. And I think Carson Wentz is going to say, hey, you know what, Los Angeles Rams, you guys got a decent quarterback in Jared Goff, but I'm way better than him, and you guys missed out on it. And that's going to be even more incentive for the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game. And then with Seattle winning in Jacksonville like they are going to this week, this makes the division race a lot more interesting between Seattle and the Rams.
All right. Well, I think what's going to happen is this. I think Jared Goff is going to come into the game and say, you know what, Philadelphia, I'm better than Carson Wentz. And I think the Rams are going to win because the Rams are going to win the damn division. I've told everybody that from week one. It's not going to change. Rams win the division. Rams upset the Eagles. I am sorry to any Eagles fans out there. We all know who I'm talking about. But I like the Rams in this game. I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll go down to the wire, and I think we may see these two teams play again in the NFC playoffs. Next up, we have got a mess as the New York Giants host the Dallas Cowboys. Matt.
Dallas wins. I think I'm not saying Dallas is going to make the playoffs. They got a long way to go, and they're going to have a tough road. But I do think they're going to be tough down the stretch just because they're going to get Ezekiel Elliott back, and they're going to have a shot. I think last week they took a big step forward. I'm not saying they're going to be great, but I think they're good enough to beat the Giants.
All right. Oz, since you seem to have the giggles tonight, I'll go with you next.
As soon as he said, the Cowboys and trying to get in the playoffs, I thought of Jim Mora, man. I mean, playoffs? Can we really talk about the playoffs with the Cowboys?
I don't think anybody can say that better than you.
Than me, okay.
Yeah. It's not, got a feminine voice.
Do the Cowboys honestly have a chance at playoffs? I mean, I'll take them to win this game because of what's going on in the coaching situation there, but really? Under what conditions can they make the playoffs?
It can happen, but a lot would
have to happen. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, wow, okay. All right, I'll take the Cowboys to win this.
All right, that was rather rude. Brian? I like rude.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Cowboys. The Giants are the 2017 version of a major cluster, rivaling the Cleveland Browns. So I'll take the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, Alex Golden.
Well, here's the thing. Eli Manning is coming back, and they fired their coach. The Giants will probably have motivation, and they will probably be ready to go out there and actually want to play football now that they have a different guy at head coach. And this is a game that I think, would be smart to pick the Cowboys if you're like betting money. But since I'm not betting money and I'm just picking this for fun, I pick the Giants.
All right, see, you have that advantage. You and Oz are so far behind, you can pick for fun. This is life or death.
I started in week 5.
I know. Oz didn't. That's the sad thing.
Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
That sounds like Oz. All right, next up. All right, we're going to make New England Miami next because I don't want to finish on a downer. Does anybody see Miami winning this game?
No way. No.
Well, without Gronkowski, it's going to be tough for the Patriots.
I'm sure it will be.
I'm pretty sure Dwayne Allen will be just fine.
I'm pretty sure they can play without a tight end and they'll be fine.
Yeah, they can put a defensive back at tight end.
Rex Burkhead.
Next up, we got an AFC North rivalry. We know what that can sometimes lead to, but I don't think these two teams hate each other is the thing we saw Monday night. We've got the Baltimore Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a must-win for Baltimore if they want a chance to win the AFC North, Brian. What do you think happens?
Well, I am going to root as always for my Steelers, but after Monday night's game, I'm going to pick the Ravens in this one.
Wow.
I think Pittsburgh's too beat up. Coming out of a game like that, the physicalness, and I just do. I want them to win. I hope I'm wrong, but I just think they're going to be too beat up, and I think it's going to be. I think Baltimore will win this.
Yeah, I'm going with Baltimore also, just because I think John Harbaugh's a better coach. The Steelers are beat up. They had to play on Monday night, an emotional game. You had the Ryan Shazier stuff and all that went on. I just think also Baltimore has to win this game. Now, I am actually cheering for Pittsburgh, so the Bengals might be able to make the playoffs at 8-8. But, and let's face it, I'm not cheering for Pittsburgh. I'd cheer for the Russians to beat Pittsburgh. But not the Colts, because I hate the Colts even more. Just because Colts fans are usually whiny. Alex, who you got? Baltimore or Pittsburgh?
Yeah, this is a tough game because Baltimore's been playing pretty well. And they won me the week last week. I'm just going to keep saying that, just so everybody knows. And when you get that one chance to win, you just have to rub it in because I don't usually do that. But
I know. You usually don't win. Go ahead.
I know. I'm taking advantage of it. But anyway.
You got to spike it. We hand the ball back to the ref because we've been in the end zone before.
Thanks. I'm that fat offensive lineman that got the nice tackle this week. So
are you calling Matt fat?
No, I said I'm the fat offensive lineman. Can you clean your ears out, old man?
No, I got too much hair growing in them.
Yeah, well, I know what to get you for Christmas now. But, anyway, I mean, this is going to be a really physical game.
What do you get me for Christmas? Let's not get off of that. I want to know what I'm getting.
It's a surprise. You're not supposed to know what Santa gets you, man. But with all this cussing and stuff you keep doing, you're going to be on the naughty list.
I said shit once. Now twice.
No, you said quite a bit. And your homophobic comments throughout the season. I mean, you're going to be on Santa's naughty list.
Just because I'm freaked out by gay people, you're going to call me homophobic?
Oh, come on now. I didn't say any of that. You're the one that's putting words in my mouth.
You call me homophobic?
You said a few homophobic comments, but
I didn't make any homophobic comments.
Well, just remember, Santa has you on the naughty list right now, so if you want a present, you're going to have to get on the nice list.
You already told me you were getting me a present, so I don't care what Santa gives me if Alex is. Yeah, but you said you were going to give me something. Just go ahead and pick the game. I'm tired of messing with you. You're obviously not going to give me anything again. It's going to be just like last year.
Well, yeah, of course. So I'm going to pick the Steelers.
All right. I'm just hoping Becky sends me a Philadelphia Eagles hoodie. I'll wear it on the show so everybody can hear it. Oz?
Oh, I'm going to pick the Steelers to win this week just so that they can lose egregiously to the Patriots next week.
Well, I think they're going to do that whether they win or lose. But
but I want it to be, a question going into that game, and then the Patriots are going to smoke them.
Oh, so you're thinking that maybe it could be like last year where Schmidt makes the mistake of picking Pittsburgh against New England again?
Oh, see, I don't exactly remember that incident, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think
we were all three tied going into championship weekend. Me and Matt picked New England. He picked Pittsburgh. Me and Matt won.
Schmitty. Oh.
Yeah, I know. It still hurts.
But I would like to bring up the fact that
picked the Ravens, though.
Alex Golden picked Baltimore last week and won.
That is true.
At least that's a rumor I heard.
Well, I mean, you guys are just stuck on that Detroit pick, and Detroit's been bad the last 4 weeks. They're just not good.
Come on. Matt's the one that picks Detroit all the time.
But you guys have been picking Detroit a lot before all that, too.
Yeah, I've been right half the time.
Thanksgiving week.
Yeah, he's been right half the time. They're 500. And I would like to say I picked Minnesota against Detroit on Thanksgiving.
I was the only one that actually picked Detroit for that game, but
no,
for most of the season,
that game.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, I picked Minnesota in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did too.
Everybody did except me. I got all the runs wrong on
Alex the one that went with Detroit on that game.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like the whole season. Like we've been really high on Detroit, even when they've been struggling.
You mean since week 5 you've been high on Detroit?
Yeah, I mean since I joined the show, we've been. Season. No, but I'm saying you guys have been though.
Nitpicker.
You've been saying.
Right. Matt, pick this damn game. Baltimore at Pittsburgh, and I hope Santa didn't hear me.
He heard you.
It's a tough game.
When you're sleeping.
What, do you live with him?
He knows when you're awake. Better watch out.
All right. Matt?
Tough game to pick. I definitely can understand why Brian would pick Baltimore here, but I'm going to go with the Steelers. It's just really hard for me to pick against the big three with Big Ben and Bell and Brown. I understand the coaching difference. I understand the Ravens' defense. I feel like Pittsburgh needs to win this game too because they're probably not going to beat New England, and they need every opportunity that they can get for home field advantage. So I'm gonna pick the Steelers to win this game, but wouldn't be surprised if Baltimore won.
All right, yeah, because if Baltimore win, they're only a game out, and New England goes to Pittsburgh the next week, correct, Schmitty?
Yes.
Yeah, didn't think it'd get real interesting. Especially when the Bengals win their last 4 to go 9-7, sneak up and win the division. I'm just kidding because they can't.
Yeah.
There you go.
I like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer better, so maybe next week you could have that ready. All right, guys.
Now.
The show's over. So, Alex, it's almost your bedtime. Do you have any parting words of wisdom?
I do. Right here for you.
All right. I think I'm gonna lean towards Becky's impression of you right now. If you have all that music ready, sitting right next to you, and you don't have kids,
it's called Spotify, and it's called Fast Fingers that know how to use a smartphone and don't have a house phone still, Mike.
What's wrong with having a house phone? I got a cell phone too.
Yeah, but everybody has a smartphone, not a flip phone.
You
can't even download the Grilling Truth app because you have a flip phone that doesn't have those.
You're a liar.
Maybe you should ask Santa for a smartphone.
You know what I ought to ask Santa for? A smart Colts fan to be on this show because I haven't found one yet.
Well, there's not very many Colts fans right now. So.
There never has been.
Oh, yeah, there has.
No, there hasn't.
More like
they
a
were
unicorn.
Peyton Manning fans.
How many Super Bowls do you guys have in the 21st century?
What's that mean? How many times has our quarterback been accused of sexual assault and had to pay off somebody? And I'm talking about Peyton Manning, by the way.
Yeah, but I'm talking about Super Bowl wins, and that's what matters at the end of the day, right?
Oh, no, not really, because if we'd have got to play the freaking Bears in the Super Bowl, Rex Grossman, we'd have won one of them. And I guarantee you this, the
we definitely would have our 6.
The 1988 Bengals would have beat the hell out of the 2000 and whatever that was Colts that won the Super Bowl.
2006, and that was 20 years after, so I don't think 20 years later that team would have beat the 2006 Colts. They would have been a little old and beat up there, Mike.
We're playing by the rules that grown men played, or what?
No, I'm saying if they were to play in 2006 against the 1986 team, they'd have been 20 years older. Those guys would have been way past their prime, Mike.
No, I still think the 88 would beat them.
They'd have been way too old, just like you.
What was that?
I said they'd be way too old, just like you.
They'd be way too old, just like me. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm still young enough to beat you at any sport you want to play, and we only live like an hour from each other.
All right, come on over to my house. We'll play some bocce.
I don't know what bocce is.
Bocce ball.
What's bocce ball? That's
you
a
know,
sport? Huh?
Come on, Mike.
How about we play basketball one-on-one, or better yet, maybe we could box. That would be fun.
Yeah, we could box. That'd be great.
I know. But you
I got a lot of presents.
Bocce ball.
I got a lot of presents I need to wrap, so put them in boxes, man. Box them up.
All right. Brian, before this show disintegrates any more than it already has because of a certain person from Indianapolis.
You know, after this whole last 3 minutes, I'm not sure there's any final parting words that I can give.
That was 3 minutes. It seemed like days.
It did. I mean, I feel like I got older.
That was rough.
That was rough. But yeah,
all right, guys, I apologize.
I'm just going to slide on. I'm going to slide on out of this. Get ready for next week. Exciting week of football, and go Steelers.
All right, Oz Davis. I know you have some parting words.
Yeah, Alex was inferring earlier that I had been high on the Detroit Lions, and I just want to say I've never been high on the Detroit Lions, okay? All right, I know what I've smoked and what I haven't smoked, okay?
He's been high on almost everything but the Detroit Lions.
But not the Detroit Lions. I am not going to take credit for that, all right? So that's my parting thought for this one.
All right, Matt Andruscavage, I know you feel a little beat up after Alex attacked your team personally, but what's your final words?
We're on to week 14.
All right.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up. Thank God. Make sure you come back next week to hear this show. We're going to see if you're from the Indianapolis area and you would like to apply, you can go to @GrillingTruth and go ahead and send us out a demo, and we'll see what we can do, because if Santa's not getting me for Christmas, I don't know. We're going to talk to Alex because he seems to have an end there. I want to remind everybody they can hear all of our shows on thegruelingtruth.net. You can hear Alex on his Courtroom podcast, NBA, plus his List Talk Colts show, which some people even listen to. So we figured 2 weeks ago he had like 900 people listen. So we're figuring the Colts have like 900 fans. So hopefully all of you guys out there will come back. We got Brian Schmidt, who is on the College Football Weekly Pick'em Show. Next week we'll start picking bowl games, Brian, with Bill Searcy, who played at the University of Alabama. We have Oz Davis, who does the Rouge, White, and Blue. He does the CFL Weekly Pick'em Show with myself, Brian, Robert Drummond. Matt Andruscavage does the 49ers Weekly Show with Dexter Carter, so make sure you check that out. So we're out of here for tonight, guys. We'll be back for week 15 next week. And hopefully the Pittsburgh Steelers will lose and the Bengals will win. But for Brian Schmidt, Jeremiah, I almost called you Jeremiah Pricer, John. But do we have a John on here? I don't think so, do we?
It's gone.
Brian Schmidt,
gone
Matt
now.
Andruscavage, Oz Davis, Alex Golden. I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where legends speak.
Ho, ho, ho.